Of all the Pokemon decks that came out during the base set Jungle Fossil era, one deck came out that was very, very groundbreaking. It was a deck you never wanted to see in a tournament, definitely want to see it in friendlies unless you don't want anyone to play with you, and it was so good that it was recognized as the Pokemon deck for the time. It was the meta deck, the archetype deck, the game-breaking deck. And it utilized only 3 Pokemon: Electabuzz from base set, Cypher from Jungle, and Hitmonchan from base set. That was known as the Haymaker deck. Now, why this deck worked so well took advantage of a handful of things from game mechanics, very basic game mechanics I should say, and the Pokemon HP pool at the time. First, need to take a look at these 3 cards, what makes it so good. Jungle Cypher, first ability, 1 grass energy for Sword Dance. During your next turn, touch or slash attack, base damage is 60 instead of 30, and then 3 colorless energy cards for slash 30, which could be a 60 from Sword Dance, 70 HP. Electabuzz from base set, first attack, 1 electric energy card, Thundershock, flip a coin, if heads, defending Pokemon is now paralyzed for 10 damage, and Thunder Punch, 1 electric, 1 colorless energy card, flip a coin, if heads, this attacks 30 damage plus 10 more damage, if tails, attacks 30 damage plus 10 damage to Electabuzz. So, slight drawback, 70 HP. Finally, Hitmonchan, the biggest one of the 3. 1 fighting energy card for jab, 20 damage. 2 fighting energy cards, 1 colorless for special punch, 40 damage. Very straightforward, 70 HP. What makes these 3 so big is a few things. Their HP pool is all 70. That was pretty big at the time. It was like the highest meaning you can get for a basic starter Pokemon. That was pretty big. Their attacks, 30 or a 60, 20 and a 40, 10 with a paralyze, or 40, or just 30 if you get unlucky with the rolls. So those are pretty big attacks at that time as well. You also had an assortment of different trainer cards that gave it such huge support. Energy removal, super energy removal, gust of wind, plus power, scoop up, item finder, last. Because Pokemon sets a pace with 1 energy card down on 1 Pokemon per turn, a card called energy removal would remove that energy card, meaning if your opponent put an energy card down on their turn, which they will, and they lose it your following turn, their Pokemon is now behind on being powered up and compared to your Pokemon. And with the cost of 1 of your own energy cards, you can remove 2 energies from an opponent's Pokemon, meaning it's 2 turns of energy cards putting down that they lost because of just that 1 card. What's worse is how energy removal and super energy removal are worded. They remove 1 energy card, not energy by itself. So if your opponent was running double colors energy cards and taking advantage of that, 1 energy removal would remove a whole entire 2 energies, colors energies from them, while super energy removal would remove 2. So that's a pretty big disadvantage. Gust of Wind was a chase down card, so if your opponent's Pokemon was weak and he switched it out, or they were trying to save it for an evolution, you could Gust of Wind, bring it back up front, and continue attacking it. Scoop Up was kind of like a healing potion for this deck. Because of what it says, choose 1 of your Pokemon in play and return its basic Pokemon card to your hand, discard all cards attached to that card. Since these 3 are all basic Pokemon, that means if Electabuzz is down to 10 HP, you can use Scoop Up on it, you lose the 2 energy cards you would hypothetically have on it, but you would put it back down with full HP again. And since these are not evolutions or require evolutions, you're not really losing a lot. Last, a huge trainer card in this deck. You and your opponents each show your hand, then shuffle all trainer cards from your hand into your deck, so you can play everything on your turn and then play this last, and your opponent loses all their trainer cards. So that means they have to draw into a Bill or Professor Oak to get a reset, or else they're pretty much screwed. And then the last 2 trainer cards, plus power and item finder, a big combo for this deck. Plus power, attach plus power to your active Pokemon at the end of your turn, discard it. If this Pokemon's attack does damage to defending Pokemon, it does 10 more damage. That's only after weakness or resistance, but that's still 10 more damage. And then item finder, discard 2 cards from your hand to other cards from your hand in order to put a trainer card from your discard pile into your hand, meaning that you can get plus power back when your turn comes around. This combo of trainer cards is one key factor to what made this a very offensively strong deck. That, along with how energy cards work and I can only attach 1 energy card per turn, that was a big issue because these only used such little amount of energy cards to use their attacks. while energy removal and super energy removal were very common, you can drain your opponent's Pokemon out of energy cards faster than they can drain yours because yours recards so little to begin with. The second thing that made it so huge was the HP pool Pokemon had back then during the base set, jungle, and fossil era. Now I just grabbed these at random and didn't pick them specifically, but take a look at Magneton. Stage 1 evolution, 60 HP, weak against fighting Pokemon. 2+ powers and a jab from Machop will knock that out easily. Clefairy, 40 HP, weakness against fighting, 1 jab, that'll knock it out. Dewgong, 80 HP, stage 1 evolution, so you need to evolve this. A lot of energy card requirements. Electric is its weakness, so 1+ power or 1 lucky roll on Thunder Punch and that would knock it out. Beedrill, 80 HP, it is resistance against fighting, which is nice. But any of these, probably Electabuzz with 4+ powers, that'll knock it out in 1 turn, and then you can item finder those plus powers back into your hand. Not to mention this is a stage 3 Pokemon. A stage 3 Pokemon, 80 HP, versus 70, 77, these are stage 1, or not stage 1, these are basic Pokemon. So you can see there's a big difference in HP amount, and how you have to build up to the Beedrill of 80 HP, versus something like Cypher which has 70 HP right off the bat. Dragonair, 80 HP, Special Punch with 4+ powers to knock it out, or Electabuzz's Thunder Punch with 3+ powers or 4, plus the toss and that coin could knock it out. Alakazam, 80 HP, stage 2, so you have to evolve to get up to 80 HP, again 80 versus 70 HP on these 3. Kabutops, weakness against grass, 1 hit on Slice or Slash, knock it out, 60 HP, and this is a stage 2 Pokemon as well, so you have to evolve up to 60 HP, again versus 70 HP. Vaporeon, weakness to electricity, 4+ powers, Electabuzz, that'll hopefully knock it out. Shelder, only 30 HP, Jigglypuff, 60 HP, 2+ powers or 3 on any of these, knock it out, or just 2+ powers and a jab from Hitmonchan. Pikachu, 50 HP, same thing, 1 jab, 1+ power from Hitmonchan. Vulpix, 50 HP, Rattata, 30 HP, Muk, 70 HP, Articuno, 70 HP, Poliwag, 40 HP, Seadra, 60 HP, Graveler, 60 HP, Zubat, 40 HP. The point being is that the Pokemon pool is so low, especially on the stage 1s and stage 2 Pokemon. Their HP is still low too. So with 80 HP, 60 HP, even Chansey with its 120 HP was weak against fighting. Even that got knocked down fast by Hitmonchan alone. Even the only other Pokemon with 120 HP, Charizard, that got knocked down pretty fast because of energy removal and super energy removal, making it so it can't even make its own attack on its turn, even with its generous ability, Energy Burn. I wouldn't say this was an overpowered deck, but it was definitely very, very strong. It was a game-breaking deck. It was all the weakness and strengths of the card game mixed together is what made this deck such a formidable deck, such a strong deck. It was a tournament-winning deck. It was the defining deck for base set, jungle, and fossil. Aside from these 3, there were a few other options that showed up in the other sets, such as Kangaskhan, Lapras, Mr. Mime, Hitmonlee, Pinsir, Magmar, Mewtwo. But ultimately, these 3 were the ones that stood out the most. There were other variations though, that included something like Muk, because of Muk's ability, Toxic Gas, ignore all other Pokemon powers other than the Toxic Gas. That was pretty big, but you would have to account for Grimer being in the deck too, so that's 4 other basic Pokemon you would have on top of Muk being in there, or up to 4 at least. But this was, despite how many times I said it, the deck that defined base set, jungle, and fossil era. It was super strong, and the fact that it was just very basic. All it was is literally basic Pokemon, a basic assortment of useful trainer cards, taking advantage of the basic game mechanics of 1 energy card per turn, and the fact that Pokemon had low energy pool at that time. It was just very simple reasons why this deck, Haymaker, was such an astonishingly amazing deck.